A talk show that cuts to the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and no BS. Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith.
Here's a man who would not take it anymore. A man who stood up against the scum, the dogs, the filth. Here is someone who stood up.
It's time for Citizen Smith.
Good morning. This is Citizen Smith. It's 9 a.m. Pacific time. Live, as we always are, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right now is our scheduled podcast talk show. We take your phone calls. We take your chats. We take your phone calls and chats. In other words, you can call us. 503-744-7022. I don't know why I want to say 754. Why is that in my head?
I have no idea. We'll get it. You'll get it down.
74. We never get a call anyway. We never get phone calls anyway.
503-744-7022.
That's what I said.
I know. I was just reiterating it since it was sloppy. 10 blah blah blah.
So William Shatner went into outer space. I didn't know it was going to take off that quick because the announcement was like a week or two ago. Thought it was going to be planned a little bit longer, but maybe they announced it and then shot him up into space. Blue Origin, Amazon owner Jeff Bezos capsule rocket. 90 years old, the oldest man to make it into space, the oldest human. 11 minutes he was up there.
Wow.
Got very emotional. He's a very emotional guy.
Want to hear what he said?
Yeah, let's hear what Will said. Willie said this.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary. Extraordinary.
And then they hug. He give him a little smooch kind of.
90 years old the guy is.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you, when it goes into outer space, it's not that taxing on the body, I guess. He said the worst part was they kept delaying it, the liftoff. Hold on, we got to delay. Yeah, so you get anxiety sitting there. You're strapped in and you can't get out at that point, right? That's like that feeling on the roller coaster. Maybe I shouldn't do this. It's too late now. You're in the cart. You're strapped in and you ain't getting out. That's the worst feeling. I can't escape the situation.
I thought he would have said there wasn't enough bathroom breaks.
Well, 11 minutes, 90 years old. All those years in the Star Trek and the Starship Enterprise.
You talk like it's a real place.
He was in this thing for 11 minutes. He was in the Starship Enterprise for like 11 years with Star Trek, filming the movies.
Yeah, it was longer than 11 years, but yeah.
Well, I mean, actually filming involved. The Star Trek series itself, the TV series, wasn't that long. It only lasted, a couple of years?
Yeah, it almost got canceled in its first year, too.
Amazing.
They almost shelved it.
I mean, he was okay, right? He did okay with the TV series, but it was the movies that really made him his money and his fame. I mean, the TV's an icon, but when they came back with the movies, that's when Star Trek, the TV series, really got popular. When I was a kid, I watched it. I loved it. But it was just kids like 5 and 6 years old watching it, 7. But when the movie came out, adults started watching it again, and it had its resurrection. Because it was just a 2 years in and out. That's not a long time in TV.
We're getting chats from our friend of the show, Pete.
Oh, Pete's back. I hadn't heard from him. I wasn't sure if he was around anymore. I thought maybe he left the state. How are you, Pete? What did he have to say?
One of them was pretty funny as hashtag premature flightulation. That's pretty good.
Oh,
he said he likes your red shirt, too.
Well, thank you very much. How about the hair?
Says, geez, Ken, don't sound so enthused.
So the border of Mexico and Canada is now going to be fully open to fully vaccinated travelers. Did you realize that the borders were closed to travelers coming over to the United States from both Canada and America?
I did know that.
Mexico?
I did know that.
I knew we could go to Canada, right? They lifted their border. But I figured when Canada said we could go to Canada, I figured we were saying, sure, and you can come here. But we were holding off and letting people come across. That was a long time. That was too much. But they're still not letting you cross the border unless you're fully vaccinated. How many people are going to get to the border? We traveled 1,500 miles. Whoa, what? You need a vaccination card?
Huh?
Honey, did you bring them?
I got tickets to the hockey game. I got reservations.
It's Thanksgiving. I want to go see my family. I can't. No. I don't know. Is it necessary to make them have fully vaccinated cards?
I think
it's
so.
Canada.
Yeah, it's Canada. And Canada don't want our garbage coming in there, and we don't want their garbage coming in here.
Just let people come over the border. Don't worry about the vaccination card, but they're going to be sticklets, the United States government. You know, give me a break. I mean, I understand caution, but this is our neighbors. We're all one big country, really. Mexico and Canada and America.
Okay.
We've lost nearly $600 billion in tourism dollars from restrictions of air and road travel to the United States from our bordering communities. This from the U.S. Travel Association. Yeah, you know, that's a lot of business out the window because we have shut our doors for over 18 months, shut our borders. So this doesn't go into effect until November. That was the date I recall seeing. It's not going to November is when we start opening borders to fully vaccinated travelers, reopening the doors to the United States to tourists, and also separated family members who have been sealed out of the country during the pandemic. Family members
What?
What do you mean?
You said sailed out?
Sealed out of the country.
Oh, sealed out.
Dude, are you going to be Are you watching everything I see? Can I just say? Yeah, sealed out of the country. SEALED.
Oh, okay, sealed out of the country. I got you.
You know, you got a lot of family members on one side of the border when you're up in the northern states, and then the other families on the other side of the border. They haven't been able to see each other because they won't allow them over. So all these holidays, you know, Uncle Ed can't come over, or my sister, or my nephew. All these family members who usually got together in the holidays, and they haven't been allowed to see each other because they can't get into the country. That's crazy when you think about it. Not even air travel. Now, if you live 20 miles apart across the border, you certainly, some people, who's going to fly an airplane from one side to another just to, you know, I can't believe there must be ways to get across the border where there's no border checkpoint on these communities. They must know little back roads.
Looking for a logging road.
Yeah, they got to know those little dirt roads. Oh, we'll just go around down the road. There is a little path.
Pete says, this ain't the rainbow gathering, you hippie. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Come on, Pete. If you don't...
I just thought it was funny he called you a hippie.
Oh, I'm a hippie. Since when was hippie a bad word?
Oh.
Let's take a look at our COVID numbers in Oregon. I like to track these things. You know, they put it out every day.
Mm-hmm.
Clackamas County, by the way, is at 12 plus, 70% fully vaccinated. 18 plus, 72. The 12 plus age group is pretty much even with 18 plus right now on a lot of these numbers. That was a lag time there catching up, but we're almost there in Oregon. We're doing pretty good. Let's see what Multnomah County looks like. How about Washington County? Another one right next to us. How high do you think those numbers are? 78% and 79% respectively, 12 plus, 18 plus. That's great. We're like at 80% for the surrounding communities and counties. And then I keep trying to get the Multnomah's at always the highest, Multnomah, slightly higher, 80%, 12 plus and 18 plus, 81%, 18. We're over 80% in all these counties. I mean, come on, man. I know I keep beating the dead horse here, but let's relax the mask mandates, okay? We can suggest it, or companies can enforce it in their own, but let's get rid of the mask mandates. We're at 80%, for Christ's sakes. What do you need? 90? Is that going to change it? Or are you just saying a mask mandate until what? Delta variant is no longer around? That's not going to happen. There's always going to be a COVID. Give me a break. 65 plus, 94% fully vaccinated. Remember the governor was like, when we get to 70%, now we're at 80 and we're not hearing anything. What do they want from us? I don't get it. I want to know, are you just going to leave mask mandates in place for the rest of our lives? Or do we hit a certain threshold of numbers that you finally say, we'll relax the mask mandate? Because I'm really, if you work in an office, sometimes 10 hours wearing a mask, 8 hours wearing a mask, it's suffocating after a while. Walking down the hallway in my apartment, I have to wear the mask because it's a mandate. Nobody around, but I don't want to break the rules. So I figure 80%, we're safe. We're not going to get to 100%. Is that what they're striving for? I don't know. Am I the only one wondering this, or is everybody, what do we need to do here? Another 5-10%? What is it you want, government of Oregon and Multnomah County? Let's hear some rhetoric. Some dialogue, right? Let's hear about what we're heading towards. Are you happy with us at 81% fully vaccinated, 12 plus? This Delta variant, I don't know when it's going to disappear. It's probably going to be out there for another few months, a year, who knows? But we can't wait for this thing to just disappear, because it's not going to get back to some normalcy again. When I mean normalcy, I mean so I can see another person's face. It's dehumanizing. I hate it. And I figure if we've done our job, we should be allowed to just choose when and where to wear a mask. Personally speaking, I'm not concerned. I'm fully vaccinated, and I know most likely that person next to me is too. One of the things the pandemic has proven is that, first of all, people are slowly getting back to the workplace again, but they're saying we're not fully back into workplaces, of course, because, first of all, each company is different, but more companies are, like a 35% increase over the last month getting back to work for workers. But one thing we learned, yes?
I was say we got a phone call.
We do?
Yeah. It's your best friend, Pete.
Oh, hey, Pete, what's going on?
Let me bring him up.
Let's see if the phone line works. Go.
I'm listening to your whining about masks, Ken. Jeez. What do you think I do when I'm helping at a clinic or a hospital as an EMT? I have to wear a mask.
So you're in a position where you need to. What about the general? Do I need to wear a mask walking down the hallway in my apartment building? No. The answer's no.
Right now, it's probably a good idea.
Pete, we're over 80% fully vaccinated. So when do we feel safe again?
Yes,
what number do you want, Dr. Lee?
Believe it or not, we allow people into Oregon and Multnomah County. They're called people from places where vaccination rates aren't so strong.
So that's the kicker. That's the one that's holding us back.
In my mind, that's part of the... Yeah,
but we'll never get those numbers. We'll never get... So if those numbers never rise up to where we are in Multnomah County, like 80%, they linger at 60%, we're just going to... This could go on for years? We're just going to wait for years for these people?
Well,
what if it's,
I don't know, but
so which is it? Is it the vaccination numbers?
Boston, Mass, like you.
Is it the vaccination numbers, or is it the Delta variant lingering in the hospital numbers? Which is it that's dictating the mask mandate? I want. Nobody's telling us. Which is it? Because we have people in the hospitals, those numbers, or the numbers of fully vaccinated.
From where I sit, those are probably all contributing factors.
Okay, so we're at 80%. Say the hospital numbers are down finally in Portland. ICUs are empty, except for people who really, outside of Delta variant. There's other people in there. When do we get back to normalcy? What do we need to do? What needs to be accomplished? No
Well,
more ICUs full. We're already there. The ICUs are not full, right?
Well, they're pretty darn busy right now. We're losing nurses and staff left and right. I'd say this much. I don't know the answer. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I know you don't know the answer, but we have experts out there in the Oregon Health Authority that are supposed to be guiding us here, and I want to know where we stand. Because we've done what we have to do on the fully vaccinated side. We're at over 80%. That's about as good as you can expect, and it should be safe enough, those numbers. So what are we waiting for, and where are we headed?
Well, I don't know. I'll just say this much. We can't negotiate with a pandemic. We can't tell Mother Nature what to do. We can't tell viruses what to do. We have to look and see. And that's why this is an evolving situation. I mean, this is the first global pandemic we've had since what? Smallpox? Polio? I mean, and we're in an era where we've got, light years more technology and more ability to surveil what the virus is doing. And even with all the stuff that we have in the modern era, we just don't have full visibility. It's complicated. I really do wish we had an answer. I mean, I empathize with you on that.
All right. Thank you, Pete. The voice of reason.
You betcha. And thank you, Ken, energy worker of love and light from Boston, Mass. See you soon.
Yeah. All right. Let's get on with the other topic of today. This is one I'm switching gears here because I don't want to dwell on the COVID numbers. And so one of the things we've learned with the COVID remote working and people leaving jobs or being laid off is everybody's been talking about, well, people have readdressed how they view their positions in their jobs. A lot of them didn't like their jobs, right? What am I doing this job for? I hate it. Now I've been out of work for several months. I'm getting paid pretty good with the enhanced unemployment benefits. Do I really want to go back to what I was doing for work? I mean, I couldn't stand that, right? This is the mentality going on. I'm going to do something else, something more enjoyable, something that gives me more freedom. And that being the key word in this conversation. This was a very, I've already thought about this issue myself, but the real meaning of freedom at work, right? This is an article in the review section of the Wall Street Journal. And a lot of times I referred to like the work environment for Americans is more like being enslaved by a company rather than fulfilling your life's dream and working towards something that brings you happiness. And that in part because of the 40-hour work week or more, as Americans do normally.
Yeah, unless you're in radio, right?
And I always argue that 40 hours is a hell of a lot of time every week to be enslaved to a job. Unless you're doing something you just can't wait to get to, it's a lot of hours to demand of the workforce, I think. And I always said this was a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was mainly because America was a manufacturing base, and there were tons of manufacturing jobs, and a lot of people did that for a living, and the big companies that owned them needed to produce a certain amount of consumer goods within a certain amount of time to pay the workers, to make a profit, and become multimillionaires in the Industrial Revolution. So that's where the 40-hour work week was really initiated. Well, we're not a manufacturing base anymore for the most part. Well, the jobs we have can be done remotely. We've proven. And by the way, even if it's done at the office, they found, since this pandemic began, and they're readdressing it and analyzing it, that actually 40 hours every week doesn't make you more productive. You could actually work less hours and be more productive because our brains can only handle so much, and then we go into a shutdown mode, pretending or looking like we're doing the job, when in fact we're watching a movie on our screen, or taking a lengthy water break, and you add it all up, and ain't 40 hours a week. So the demand of the job isn't requiring 40. And by the way, it's just, I don't think humanly possible to pull 40 hours or more every week and be productive as a human being. So this review article came out, and I just love some of the facts and some of the information shared, because it just supported everything I thought. Mind you, I've, for the most part, worked self-employed since I got out of radio. Radio was like the last time I worked in corporate America. And then I started a newspaper, and I went back and forth doing some part-time radio jobs, but never full-time again. And running a newspaper by myself in Alaska for 12 years and 15 total, where the business part started it with me. But running it by myself for 12 years until the end of 2017 allowed me a lot of freedom. The paper was profitable. It was a semi-monthly, twice a month. And I had a lot of freedom. And I was my own boss, right? So that was a great feeling to be able to accomplish that. And I think it's hard to share that feeling with people if you're not in that position yourself. But more people are seeking that type of freedom, because half of Americans, a poll and statistic showed, want to be self-employed now. This is a byproduct of not going to the workplace during the pandemic and being laid off for a few months to rethink how you feel during that layoff and how you feel about your work. Half of Americans want to start their own business or be self-employed.
It gave me hot dog fever.
You went through that, Mr. McDonald.
What's that?
An enhanced layoff and left a corporate job, and
Yeah.
your mental state changed, right?
Well, yeah.
Did you feel freer?
Oh, of course. You instantly feel freer, but then, of course, you get shackled with the worries and the freak out of
The anxiety of not having a steady income.
The thing for me is without that fear, you have no motivation.
So the good was what, and the bad was what?
The bad was it it scares you. The good is that it motivated me, because I wanted to be.
But you don't want to go back to corporate America.
No, I wanted to be my own boss again as well. And
so you want to be self-employed.
Yeah, that's the way.
You're one of every two Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a lot. Half of the workforce wants to be self-employed because they're tired of working for the man.
I mean, there are some negative parts. I mean, the tax structure and things like that, it's still not the best for people who work, for themselves. Sometimes
the bottom line that people want to work for themselves so that they are free to do what they want when they want, for the most part. Of course, self-employment can. Look, when I ran a newspaper, I was like, when I went on vacation, I was thinking about my newspaper, but it gave me the freedom to, when I wanted to take a lunch break, I took a lunch break. When I wanted to take a walk in the morning, I took a walk in the morning for the most part.
Yeah.
But when you're on a punch card and you're going in at this time and out at this time, you don't have any of that. You're restricted.
I think the biggest fear, and Pete Lee made a comment on this on the chat, that, people don't leave corporate America because they can't figure out the health insurance stuff. They stay because they have health care.
That's a hell of a thing to be that's a hell of a bind to put people into.
Welcome
to
America.
Insurance, right?
Welcome to America.
Should be like Canada, across the board. You get it. You don't have to worry about it. It should be a damn part of life that's not. You don't worry about it. The country takes care of you, especially the wealthiest country in the world. And I know that's another big factor.
Productive, and you'd be more productive.
So these are little things we could change if corporate America wasn't dictating our lives. The 40-hour work week and healthcare.
There's got to be a reason they don't want people well-educated, well-fed, healthy. They'll be smart all the time.
We run, like I said, from an industrial revolution mentality of how to treat workers. In 1958, in a classic lecture, this is from the article, I love this one. The philosopher Isaiah Berlin distinguished between two types of freedom: negative liberty is freedom from obstacles and interference by others. That would be corporate America that you work for, or the big business, or whoever you're working for. Positive liberty is freedom to control your own destiny and shape your own life, self-employment. If we want to maximize net freedom in the future of work, we need to expand both positive and negative liberty. I love that. That's it in a nutshell. So I just wanted to, like I said, half of American workers want their next job to be self-employed. American companies waste $100 billion a year paying for idle time. What don't you get, corporate America and businesses? You're making people work more hours than is actually benefiting you financially. Do you need to keep the thumb down on us, or can you just? How about a 34-hour work week? Sounds good to me. Even 30. I'll take 30. 6 a day. We'll never do it, right? Never. Some countries have, though.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest source of positive liberty may be the freedom to decide when and how much we work. If we've learned anything from the pandemic about going remote, it's that people aren't shirking from home, they're working overtime. But the 40-hour work week was not ordained from above. It's a human invention that grew out of the Industrial Revolution. I love this point. Anthropologists find that for more than 95% of human history, people enjoyed more leisure time than we do now. When we started treating humans like machines, we began confusing time spent with value created.
Wow.
They said the happiest time in the human being life in the history of human beings, what period do you think they suggested was the happiest time?
I don't know.
When we were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
Most of our time was about 15 hours spent hunting and gathering. The rest of the day was spent enjoying the food we hunted and spending time with our social circle of the little community of hunter-gatherers.
According to World Population Review, the average work week by country, Denmark leads the way, average 37 hours. And the Netherlands, you can't work more than 50 hours a week, and you have to work 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
Wow. Norway, Belgium, France, Sweden, Finland, Italy, Germany, Spain, they all have that. Those all sound pretty good. The United States is like 25th on the list. 26th.
Yeah, we working ourselves to death.
Ugh.
When people have the flexibility to work less, they often focus better and produce more at work.
Mexico's got one of the highest work weeks. It's like over 55 hours.
Yeah, they work well because they're the manufacturing base for North America. A lot of manufacturing jobs, and those companies push you, right? We need this product. We need this many orders to be filled.
The 10 countries with the most working hour work weeks: Mexico, Costa Rica, South Korea, Russia, Greece, Chile, Israel, Poland, Czech Republic, and the United States.
Microsoft Japan tested a 4-day work week, which, by the way, if it's not 40 hours a week, why not a 4-day work week, 3 days off?
Agreed.
36 hours, 4 days a week.
Perfect.
If we all want that, why don't we get it? So they tried this at the Microsoft Japan location, and they found productivity climbed by 40% and costs declined.
Wow.
The Icelandic government tested reducing work weeks from 40 to 36 hours at the same pay in offices, hospitals, and police stations over a 4-year period. It found that well-being and work-life balance improved, while productivity was sustained across the board and in some cases heightened.
Hey, what do you know?
So what are we doing? The numbers are there.
Working ourselves to death. That's what we're doing.
Offering the freedom to work less is an opportunity to attract, motivate, and retain talented people. From 2018 to 2021, the number of job postings offering a 4-day work week has tripled. But they are still less than 1 in 100 jobs. Along with shortening the work week, it's worth rethinking the work day. What if we finished at 3 p.m. so that working parents could be with their children when they came home from school? Would we see better results in higher quality of life in 6 focused hours rather than 8 unfocused hours?
I think you're going to get increased to happy hours. What you're going to get.
Come on, man. Let's
happy hour is 3 to 6,
let's
man. Let's get there at 3.
Working ourselves to death.
Yes.
Freedom, liberty at the workplace. You'll be a happier society, healthier.
Yes, you will. Yes.
Better family life, more time to get rest and recuperation. All these things are good for the American worker. We shouldn't be working to death and working and waiting a couple of days a week to try to actually enjoy life. And with that said, I'll end the show.
Excellent. That was good.
All right. That's it for today's show. I'm Citizen Smith. Thank you for joining me. I will talk to you tomorrow.